Welcome back to Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you exactly how workshops and caravans actually work so you can make money no matter where you are on the map, because the economy in Mountain Blade 2 is ever changing, meaning that if someone on YouTube tells you, you need to build a wood shop over here in this location because it works in my game, it may not work in your game and you might make a loss in money. So I'm going to be explaining exactly how you can actually figure out for yourself what you should be building in the various kingdoms of Mountain Blade 2 for yourself. So let's start out with talking about workshops, and then we'll talk about caravans, and then we'll go into more advanced tips later. And if you guys find this video helpful, and do bear in mind that it's going to cost around 15,000 gold to buy yourself either a workshop or a caravan. So in order to make that money in the first place, you might want to check out my previous money making guide about how you can make lots of money from nothing, just starting out by going to any town and trading goods, specifically the trade goods like grape, fish, and so on. And I actually made a graph in that previous video, which I'll link below, which basically just explains that as long as you're buying every one of these trade products in the game for its minimum market value, you're always going to be selling it for more than that, which means that you'll always be making a profit. And using that system, which I explained in that video, you'll always be making money and you just can't go wrong. So now let's pretend you've made your first 20,000 gold and you want to start actually buying your first workshop. How are you going to go about doing that? Well, before I show you how to buy it, let's take a look at what workshop we should actually be building. So right now I'm here in the land of Botania, and what I want to figure out is what workshop is going to be the most productive, make me the most money in the area. So in order to do this, I'm standing outside the city of Marunath, which is where I want to buy a workshop. Now you can see that Marunath has two local villages here and here. If I hover over this village, I can see that its primary production is hardwood. So if we actually just travel over here for the sake of this video very quickly, and you say, I want to buy some products from the local village, you see that they have tons of hardwood and they're actually selling it way below market value. So you could actually buy this and sell it in the neighboring town for more if you wanted to. But all I want to know is that their main manufacturing resource is hardwood. If we take a look at the other village, we can see it's actually got a mine outside of it. And it also says that its primary production is iron ore. So what that means is that the best workshop in this area is going to be iron ore equals blacksmith and hardwood equals woodshop. Now the reason for this is because there are an abundance of those two materials in the local two villages, which means no matter what, you're going to be producing those raw materials that your workshop can then turn into actual products, which is the point of a workshop. Another way you can also confirm this is if you go to the trade section and then you go to the numbered products up here, you can see that they have tons of hardwood and they're selling it for really cheap as well. So this means that they have hardwood as a raw material in abundance because all the villagers in the surrounding area are supplying it. You can also see they have a lot of shields and bows and tools that are still selling for a lot of money, especially this heavy recurve bow, despite them having 100 of them. This is because they clearly have a blacksmith that's making these tools, so we know that they are selling well. The next raw materials we can see here are iron ore and flax. So you know that a wool weavery could potentially be good to build in the city because there must be some local trade routes that this city gets a lot of flax from. And we also know that one of the villagers has a local mine, so they're making a lot of iron ore. So that's always going to be readily available as well. So now we've done our market research and we know which workshops are going to work well in the city. So now we're going to go ahead and take a walk around the town centre and we're going to spy out the local workshops because each city has free workshops usually. So if you simply walk into the town and you press the Alt key and you have a look around, what you'll see is that currently there is a smithy in the town. There is also a wood workshop and there is a wool weavery as well. Now we know that the wood workshop and the smithy are going to be the two most profitable workshops based on our market research that we just did. So you should either buy the wood workshop or the smithy. You could, if you like, buy the wool workshop instead. They might be selling it for cheaper maybe, and then you can turn it into a wood workshop or a smithy. However, you would then be in competition because the city would have 2 wood workshops, for example, which would mean you would make less money overall. So what I'd recommend doing is buying the local town smith, for example, or the local town wood shop, but never have 2 of the same workshop in the same city, because that will lead to it earning less money than it could potentially earn. So now we want to buy something. I'm going to go to a shop worker and I'm going to say, hi, I'd like to buy this workshop. It will cost you 14,994. It kind of depends based on how production's going. So I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to say, on second thought, I don't want to change what we're producing. We're going to keep it as a smithy. Smithies are the heart of every military. Iron is forged into weapons and armor in a smithy. With some hardwood, smithies also produce tools. Are you sure you want to open a smithy? Yes, I am. And of course, I can go to the wood workshop. I can also buy that if I have the money to do so, and I do. So I'm going to do that right now. And also, just so you know, guys, because I had a few questions about this, if the settlement is under siege, the wood shop will be closed, so it won't be earning any money. Same if your enemies capture that city, then they'll take your wood shop and it won't be earning any money either. So I recommend buying yourself a wood shop or workshop in somewhere that isn't currently in war. Otherwise, you'll lose money. So I'm going to say I want to buy this workshop too. It also costs like 15,000, and we're going to say yes, you want to keep it as a wood shop. So let's go ahead and leave and go back to the menu screen again. So now if you go to your clan page, you can see that these are the 2 places that we've just brought, the wood shop and the smithy. So if I go ahead and wait here for some time, and we can see how that changes. So as you guys can see, the blacksmith and the wood workshop are producing a lot of money. We can see that the blacksmith is actually more successful than the wood workshop, just because usually they have higher value goods, so you make more money from them. And just as a comparison, I deliberately built bad workshops in 2 of my other settlements, so I could show you that if you don't choose the right workshop, you're going to be earning like half the amount of money. So that is essentially how workshops work in Mount and Blade 2. So using this method, no matter where you are, your workshops are always going to be successful. However, there is a little bit of a harder method, but you can actually make your workshops produce like ridiculously lots of profit if you're even smarter. So how exactly do we do that? Well, all we need to do is find a city, for example, Danustica. And if I go and trade goods here, I can see that they've got clay in abundance, and they're making a lot of pottery. It's like, yeah, okay, they're also selling it quite cheaply. However, what is the most expensive good? So right now, jewelry is worth 433 gold, and you can see there it's in the red. And I know as well, because I've been writing lots of graphs about the most expensive trade goods, that this is like a high price for jewelry. And the reason why jewelry is so expensive is because it's not being produced in the city, it's not being produced anywhere near the city, and they also don't have access to silver. So one very clever thing you can do, but it takes a lot more effort, is you can go and buy another workshop in the city, and you can turn it into a jeweler's. Then you need to go and find a local town that's producing silver quite cheaply, and I believe there's quite a few in, like, I think this area or maybe the northern area. I can't remember, to be honest, off the top of my head. And then you need to personally buy as much silver as you can for as cheap as you can, and then take it back to Danustica, sell it to the city. You're already going to make a profit from that because silver just isn't available in this area anyway. And then your workshop will turn that silver that the city has into jewelry, and then they will sell the jewelry for a ridiculous profit margin. So what you can do is you can create a monopoly, in a sense, of supply and demand. If you know that a certain city is selling a product at an extremely high value, you know that you can go elsewhere, get the raw material for that product, build a workshop in the city, and then just deposit those goods there, and you will be selling it for so much more value. I'm going to quickly demonstrate that to you now. So we found a village here that produces silver. So we go and buy those products. They're actually selling it way below market value at 94 a go. So I'm going to go ahead and buy them out completely of all their silver. And we are just here on the map, but now if I go back to Danustica and we build our workshop, we can make lots of money. So as you guys can see, I have 35 silver and it's now worth 180 gold in this area. But instead of selling it, we're going to buy a workshop to manufacture it into jewelry. Now, before you choose which workshop to buy, what I recommend doing is having a look on the menu here. We know that there's a lot of raw clay in the area, and Danustica is making a lot of pots for money. So the sensible option would be to buy ourselves the pottery area. If we buy the pottery workshop and turn it into a jewelry workshop, then sell our silver to the city so our jewelry workshop can make jewelry, then it will obviously make a lot of money. However, when they run out of silver, which will happen in like maybe a week or so, when we come back, we can turn it back into a pottery shop and just leave it AFK to make us money, because this method is rather time consuming. I just wanted to show you it exists because it is a good way of making a ton of money. I'd like to buy this workshop. Yes, 15,000 is fine, and I'm going to say I want to turn it into a silversmith so we can make jewelry. Rare silver ore is turned into valuable jewelry in a silversmithy. Jewelry is the finest of all trade goods. Are you sure you want to open a silversmith? Yes, I am. Okay, so currently they have no silver in the city, so that's a really bad example. But since we've already brought all the silver to the city, we're now going to trade it to the city, like so. So I have 35 silver and it's worth 180 anyway. So we're making 4,037, which I believe is, yeah, it's double our money because we spent 2 grand on all this silver because I brought it under market value, like my other previous guide told you guys to. That's how trade works. So now what we're going to do is we're going to wait in the city and see how much money this silversmith makes in comparison to the first method I show you guys. In fact, if we have a look at our clan menu right now, as you guys can see, our blacksmith is on plus 133, which is huge, and our carpenter is on plus 83, which is fantastic as well. So we're making a lot of money, but essentially the more sought after the item, the higher you can sell them for, the more money you'll make. So this silversmith is currently on 0. Let's go ahead and wait a few days in town and see how this does. So we go back to the clan tab after a few days later and we have a look. Our silversmith after a few days is now making plus 95, which is remarkably decent for, you know, it's only been a couple of days and he's already making a massive profit there. You can see that it now has 5 jewelry and we've actually lowered the price of jewelry in the area, which is very interesting. You can see we're slowly depleting the amount of silver in the city, but they still have a lot there. But I just wanted to show you guys, if I wait here for even longer. So we wait even longer and you can see we've once again increased our profits. It's now earning 121 gold. Now obviously this isn't the AFK way of earning income, because in reality you would need to go and buy more silver and then bring it back here so they can carry on producing jewelry. However, it is a way to gain monopoly, and if you continuously change the workshop based on what goods you have a surplus of that are really expensive to sell, especially in the Empire, then you can actually turn over a much bigger profit than you would usually have by just having a AFK workshop. However, the blacksmith here is still making a massive profit. Now, as I said at the start of the video, every single city has a changing economy because the game has its own trade system. So your game is going to be different to someone else's game because the economy changes every day, and you know, someone might be at war, so they might be producing less goods and so on. So it's important that you take all these different little factors that we discussed in this video into consideration when buying your own workshop. And if something's not working in the future, remember to go back and just check every month or so in game if that workshop is still making a profit. Obviously, if the local villagers are producing that natural resource, then it will always be making a profit and you won't really need to worry about it. And you'll definitely find specific areas in the game where workshops work better. For example, in the Empire and Botania, there's a lot of wood being made, more so than in other areas necessarily, and especially if neighboring factions are at war and buying those materials like weapons and whatnot from the blacksmith, it's going to be making even more money. So that's how you experiment. That's how the whole workshop system works. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it educational. I'll be doing another separate video about caravans and how they work, so subscribe and press the bell icon, and then YouTube will let you know as soon as that video comes out. But if you found this one helpful, please do give it a like, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be making loads more of these money guides to explain how different principles of the game works. Things that I won't necessarily be telling you as we go through our Let's Play as well, which I'm doing in the background. But guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, and goodbye.